I'm Maz Evans, and I am the author of Who Let the Gods Out?, The Exploding Life of Scarlet 5, and I Spy. Reading supports my well-being because I am someone with a lot of thoughts in my head all of the time, and they get very tangled up, and reading is a fantastic way for me to just get out of my head for a minute, let my thoughts untangle a little bit, and give myself a bit of a break from thinking 25 million things at once. Grown-up book, there's a book called Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine, and I think I've read it 17 times because I love it. Child's book, The Twits by Roald Dahl. A, because it's brilliant. B, because I look just like Mrs. Twit, spirit animal. So Vi is a really good friend, and she's a really good listener, and she's very good at giving advice. She's in a bit of a sort of chaotic family where there's a lot of fighting. So I think she's become a very good listener. And I think sometimes we forget that as friends. We don't need to do something. We don't need to solve someone's problems necessarily, but sometimes someone just needs someone to listen. And I was always told you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. You should listen twice as much as you talk. I didn't take the advice particularly well, but I think it's a good way to live your life. My favourite time or place to read is pretty much anywhere I've got 5 minutes to do it. So the dream is the sofa, the blankets, the cup of tea, the plate of biscuits, let's not lie, Maz, the box of biscuits. I do that about twice a decade, but that is the dream, and that's what I love. I also love reading just before bed because it just clears my head out, gets all the screens, all the nonsense out of my head, and just helps me to sleep a bit better. So cuddled up in bed with a book is brilliant. My happiest reading memory, I think rather than a specific memory, there's just that feeling when you are trapped inside the pages of a book and you cannot get out. That when you're thinking about it all the time, you're just waiting for the next time you and your book can be alone together. And I absolutely love that. I'm addicted to that feeling when I will literally let my house, my children, my career go to ruin because I just need to finish this book. And it is the best feeling in the world. My favourite thing to eat while writing books, let me think about it, biscuits! I love biscuits. Biscuits are my absolute downfall. I absolutely love biscuits. They have to be covered in chocolate, otherwise they don't qualify. But yeah, my books are fueled by biscuits. Fortunately, the other thing I like doing when I'm writing is going to the gym. So those 2 things hopefully balance each other out. But yeah, team biscuit all the way. Writing supports my well-being because, again, it gets me out of my own head. And I think that writing is a really good way to make sense of your own feelings. And I know when I work with children, a lot of their stories are about something they're worried about or something that's going on in their lives. And all of my books have something that happened in my life. So Vi Spy is about a family going through divorce, which is something I experienced as a child, but also as an adult. And writing this book was a really good way for me to make sense of some of my feelings about that, and hopefully to offer some help and advice to anyone else who's going through it. So I find writing just helps me to process some of the things that are going on in my own life. Now, I'm naturally a bit of a show-off, so most of the things I write, I tend to show to people, but I do like writing silly poems, and they're not poetry for me. I don't like even calling them poems because poetry is like a big, clever, profound thing, whereas mine are just basically finding different ways to rhyme with the word fart, and they just make me laugh a bit, and I write those. I've never showed them, I never tried to get them published, but every now and again I write one because they just make me laugh. So yeah, I've got a little private folder of my silly verse that, yeah, does prodigiously revolve around rhymes for fart, cart, heart. Yeah, you see, you get the idea. All befriending characters from my book. So, I mean, obviously they're all my friends. We spend a lot of time together, but probably it would have to be little Russell Sprout from Vi Spy. So Vi has a nearly stepbrother who she starts off not being terribly fond of. And Russell is a massive uber geek. And I hate it when that word is used negatively, because I'm a geek. I'm getting married to the world's biggest geek. And I love geeks because they know so much about things I know nothing about. And Russell is a very quiet, very shy, but very kind and very brilliant young man. And that boy needs a hug. So yeah, I would love to go and be friends with Russell. And he'd teach me all about robots and space and cool stuff as well. So yeah, Russell and I, BFFs forever. I could recommend hundreds of brilliant children's books, because I'm not just saying this, but we are in a golden age of children's literature. But one that has come along very recently is written by a good friend of mine, Lisa Thompson, who is not only one of my big besties, but she is one of the most brilliant writers we have, I think. And she's got a new book called Roller Coaster Boy out at the moment. And it's about some children who go on an adventure at a scary kind of seaside hotel. And it does what Lisa does brilliantly, which has come up with a brilliant mystery and adventure combined with tackling some real life issues with lots of help and advice for how you might handle them yourself. So Roller Coaster Boy, absolutely brilliant.